It's 11 o'clock at night. You've just finished a 12-hour shift. And instead of sleeping, you're sitting at the kitchen table trying to figure out how to file a quarterly tax return for your consulting business. You're not even sure you're doing it right. You just know it's due tomorrow. If you've made the move into self-employment or digital health consulting, or you're thinking about it, I want you to know that moment is coming. Not because you're unprepared, because nobody trains clinicians to run a business. Today, we're going to talk about the financial case for stopping that cycle, for building the professional team around you that lets you focus on what you actually do best. Here's the financial reality that nobody mentions when you're considering the move. When you're employed, the administrative infrastructure of your professional life is completely invisible to you. Payroll happens, tax is deducted at source. Compliance is someone else's quarterly problem. The moment you move to self-employment, all of that becomes yours. In the US, self-employed consultants typically pay both the employee and employer portions of Social Security and Medicare, effectively a 15.3% self-employment tax on top of income tax. In the UK, limited company structures bring corporation tax, Class 2 and 4 national insurance, annual accounts, VAT thresholds. In Ireland, the self-assessed system is similar, with penalties for underpayment that are entirely avoidable if you know what you're doing. And according to Medscape's 2025 Physician Compensation Report, self-employed physicians earn approximately 11% more than their employed counterparts. That's real money. But that premium disappears quickly if you're spending your most productive hours managing paperwork you're not qualified to manage. When I made the full transition to running my own company, I learned very quickly that I couldn't do everything myself. I needed to run a small business, but I had no idea how to file quarterly and annual paperwork. I needed to manage payroll, take corporate distributions, reconcile expenses. Some of it I could figure out with enough time and research, but some of it was genuinely mysterious to me. I could do it technically, but I couldn't be sure it was done right. And done, but not sure it's right, is not a position you want to be in with a tax authority. The bigger problem was time. This work was consuming about 5 hours every week. 5 hours that could have been spent with clients, building new programs, doing the strategic thinking that actually grows a business. Instead, I was in spreadsheets and government portals, anxious about whether I'd ticked the right boxes. That's when I started hiring professionals. An accountant, a payroll specialist, others brought in on a limited needs-based basis. Not full-time employees, not expensive retainers, targeted people who did specific things excellently so I could stop doing those things at all. The effect was immediate. Those 5 hours came back. The anxiety disappeared, and I had the confidence that came with knowing things were done correctly. Not just done, correctly. There's a concept in business called your highest and best use. It means the activities only you can do that generate the most value. For a clinical consultant or digital health professional, that is your expertise, your clinical credibility, your primary asset. Your ability to translate the complexity of healthcare delivery into language that technology companies, health systems, and policymakers can actually act on. That expertise is rare. It is your primary asset. And every hour you spend on payroll is an hour not leveraging that asset. The global healthcare IT consulting market was valued at nearly $69 billion in 2025. It's projected to reach $181 billion by 2034. The demand for clinicians who can guide digital transformation is not a trend, it's a structural shift. To capture your share, you need to be available for the work that creates value. The highest earning consultants I know are not the ones who do everything themselves. They're the ones who've built small, efficient teams around themselves, professionals handling what they're excellent at, so the clinician can do the same. So what does the right professional team actually look like? You don't need a large team, you need the right team. Here are 3 foundations. Foundation 1, your financial compliance core. This is a qualified accountant or CPA who specializes in self-employed professionals. In the US, look for someone familiar with S-Corp elections. In the UK and Ireland, find someone who understands limited company structures for contractors. They handle the routine correctly. Alongside them, a bookkeeper or accounting platform for ongoing expense reconciliation. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to happen consistently. and a payroll service. Getting payroll wrong has consequences. Getting it right is routine work that a specialist handles in minutes. Foundation 2, your financial growth advisors. Once the compliance is covered, the next layer is growth. This means a financial advisor who understands self-employed income, pension contributions, investment of surplus consulting income, long-term multiple revenue stream strategies. Planning how to deploy that income over a 20-year arc matters more than you realize. Foundation 3, your professional development infrastructure. This is the one most underestimated. A business coach or mentor who has already navigated the transition you're making. They replace what would otherwise have been years of trial and error. The insight from someone who has built exactly what you're building is everything. Professionals, accountants, coaches, legal advisors don't just do the work. They compress the learning curve, and when you know where you want to go, finding the shortest path through that is everything. Here are 5 things you can do this week to start building your team. Step 1. Audit your admin time. For 1 week, track every hour you spend on business administration, tax, invoicing, compliance. That number is your baseline cost of doing it yourself. Step 2. Clarify your compliance obligations. If you've moved to self-employment, get clear on the specific requirements in your jurisdiction. A 1-hour consultation with a qualified accountant costs far less than a penalty. Step 3. Find a specialist accountant. Ask peers in digital health communities or LinkedIn networks for referrals. Look specifically for someone who works with self-employed healthcare consultants or contractors. Step 4. Calculate the return on delegation. Take your hourly rate as a consultant. Multiply it by the hours you spend on admin each week. Compare that to what a professional would charge. The maths usually resolves immediately. Step 5. Build incrementally. You don't need to hire everyone at once. Start with an accountant. Get that working. Then add other professionals as your consulting income grows and your needs evolve. I want to zoom out for a moment. The decision to build a professional team around you isn't just about saving 5 hours a week. It's about what those 5 hours become over a 10 or 20-year career. Every successful clinician consultant eventually stops doing the things they weren't trained to do. There was a period, sometimes months, sometimes years, where they were doing everything themselves, managing the business and doing the clinical work and trying to figure out tax law. And then something shifted. They stopped, and the business, the actual thing they were building, started to grow. The impact framework I use in my coaching addresses 6 pillars. Financial growth is pillar 2. It isn't just about earning more. It's about building the infrastructure that makes earning more sustainable. Treating it like the professional enterprise it is. Surrounding yourself with the right people isn't a luxury. It's how you protect the work. You went into clinical practice because you wanted to make a difference in people's health. Moving into digital health or consulting is a continuation of that. But doing it sustainably means treating it like the professional enterprise it is. Surrounding yourself with the right people from the start is how you protect the work. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What does your professional support team look like right now? Or what's the one thing you're still managing yourself that you know you shouldn't be? If you found this useful, subscribing means you won't miss the rest of this series. We're working through 6 pillars of building a sustainable digital health career, and each one builds on the last. And if you're ready to stop figuring this out alone, I work with clinicians across the US, UK, and Ireland who are making exactly this transition. There's a link below for a free consultation. Let's talk about what the next chapter of your career could look like and the shortest path to get there.